Okay, hi guys. A real quick run through the usual suspects. So yield, dollar, and then commodities. First of all, just to remind ourselves, Thursday and Friday should be the big days. We've got this CPI, PPI related stuff. So those should move the markets. We also have initial jobless claims. So today, yeah, there's a few speakers. The ECB speakers already done. So, bear that in mind. Thursday and Friday are really the big movers. However, that said, let's look at yields because I think it's quite interesting. We tested this horizontal price support and you can see it acted as resistance. We did pop our head above but never closed above. That's the 30 years. So do we go back down and, you know, either test the lows or do we go back up and start to close above and maybe even move higher into next week? That obviously depends on Thursday and Friday. And the weekly close will be very important. Some nice weekly candles there. 10 years, same thing, exactly the same thing. We tested again, but failed for now. 5 years, same thing. And then, okay, 2 year doesn't even get that high on the retest. So that's yields. We did pop up, but we didn't follow through yet. Now, if we look at the DXY, that popped up, I would say, a bit later, but it's held so far. So the DXY has been outperforming recently. Obviously, that also is going to wait until Thursday or Friday. The descending, yes, it took it out, which is slightly bullish, but it kind of had to because I think it was inevitable that it was going to hold its gains until Thursday and Friday. So, but again, let's see, got to imagine what the chart looks like. A lot of people fail to imagine what the chart will look like, a day, two, or even a week from now. So if we close above, for me, it's quite obvious. If we close above, let's say these sort of tails up here, these shadows, 102.7, let's say, especially up here, and let's be honest, Thursday and Friday will make a move where you have a close up here. Otherwise, probably below here or into this sort of 101.8, this price support zone. So just imagine what that candle looks like and what that would mean after. What expectations the market will have after that type of a daily close or even weekly at that point. For me, if we start to close anywhere around 103, especially just above this last wick up here, we're moving up to the 104, 104.2. I've said that before. If we move lower, then we're going to go test the lows. Nice and simple. Yields should follow the DXY. Now let's look at commodities. Copper makes sense, just hovering. Also, the market went down yesterday, so that kind of also makes sense that it dropped with the market. Although let's be honest, the market's been going up and it didn't care. It's just really the dollar and yields going up recently. So copper's just, and let's just zoom out. It hit its resistance, which is for me around here, 3.93, and now it's just going to find support where it used to, which should be around low 3.7s, roughly something like that. Nice and simple. Natural gas. Now that has just been surprising to the upside. Look at that huge move yesterday. Went straight through three, kept going. I don't know what percentage move it was. It was like above 10% or something. Some wild move actually yesterday. Look at that, 13%. That's pretty rare. And then importantly, closed below three. And then today we've got some, let's say, sideways action, pretty big sideways action. So that's interesting. Natural gas has really bounced. But for me, three is a pretty big line in the sand for support and resistance, although for support it didn't really work. So let's see if we're able to close above three and I don't know, go test the old highs at 3.6. But that would make for a real weird chart, and that's rare that we descend this much and then just ascend all the way back up. But that's natural gas for you. It's just a bit of an anomaly. It's quite interesting to watch at least. Okay, WTI for now holding low 70s. So just in the 60s, good buy zone. But like I said before, we're coiling here. We've got this really tight wedge coming. We've got this descending, which should be resistance, and it is, in my opinion. Let's see. And if we move up anywhere up here, you're going to really get this explosive squeeze potential. So I'm going to say around 75, because you'll bump into this descending, but also this horizontal. And if it's not here, it's going to be here. I'll just leave it here to be absolutely sure. So I'd say around 75, expect resistance, but a close above these areas. And bam, you start to move up and then you zoom out and you think, okay, we're ready to go up to the next descending. So that's all. If we move lower, I'd expect some buying down here. Every time it went down, it looked, I mean, the chart down here, I remember back here, it looked really bad. I was ready for a flush. And then I was thinking, what happens? Do we go to 60? I was looking at 50s. A lot of people were looking at that. But we held, and then we started to move up. And as soon as we broke above this, bam, all the way up to test 100 really. So what happens if we go down here and we have this support? I'm going to call it 67, but that's probably buying just before, just above, like here. So oil decision is happening, and it's interesting how this will coincide with some news. It's just, I mean, there's news every day, I guess, but the charts have a way of doing that. Uranium, that was really impressive. Was that news from France saying that they're going to prioritize nuclear reactors over green? I read something. I don't know what the news is, but it doesn't even matter because I think that's what's going to happen across a lot of countries, even those countries that signal the opposite for now, like Germany. Germany even are cancelling, or they've already been doing it, their nuclear reactors and going for green, although now they've had to switch to coal because of the energy crisis. But the point is, news aside, technically, this had its second ascending tram line support, and that held. But this is a big move, 4%. I know that some of the uranium stocks did really well, most of them. So that's disappointing for me. I was looking for a flush, but I knew that something like this was possible. And yeah, it's a bull market, in uranium, and it will probably continue. And I'm probably an idiot for not buying even now at the highs, because a few months from now that will be considered the lows, because up we go to the hundreds or something. It really should happen. So, but yeah, that's what happened in uranium. Nice big move, close at high of day pretty much. Might as well fill this gap. Started to hit 29.530. That should be resistance though. You can't just really go all the way through unless you have news. A huge move in uranium off this secondary support. So if we do go back down, I don't see that happening after a big move like this, at least not straight away. Then we can consider, 26 point, well, 27 initially, but 26.5-ish, this level. If you were to close, this is what's helpful about this move. If you were to close, and I don't see this happening after yesterday's move for a while, like I said, if you were to revisit, let's say you go up here and you fail, and then you come back down and you close below, bam, down we go here, finally. So this will help if there's a drop. Now we have a new data point to go by. Okay, before I jump to gold and silver, platinum, and palladium. This one just stays within its range. So you got this descending. That's very helpful. We did have a nice move up, which was also with the metals, but we've come back down. So let's see. I don't really expect any volatile moves. Does this work? No, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect to go this low, but if it does go this low, just below 900, it should find support here. Otherwise, very strong support down here for platinum. If we go back up, then it'll be this recent high. And if we do break above that, it'll be this descending. So that's all there is to know about platinum. Palladium, look at this. This is interesting. I mean, this move down here is complete. Look how many days that is in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 trading days. That's over 2 weeks non-stop. That's wild. Now, it's hit the retest. And not only that, but we're pretty close to the lows. I mean, the low doesn't have to be the absolute low. You can consider it here-ish, because of this move from down here. So the low is down here. The descending retest is here. We're near the 1,000 mark. I think you can consider this a buy zone. I don't know who's shorting here, but that's pretty bold. So for me, palladium, sorry, is really at a zone where it should bounce. But it's not very encouraging to see such a consistent drop. But I think it will bounce here. And anyway, the stock I have that really follows palladium is SBSW, and that one's outperforming this underlying metal. So I like that. So I think even a small bounce should see SBSW do really well. So I actually don't mind this, but still, I'd prefer it to have found support a bit earlier, to be honest. Gold and silver holding, at least gold is, well, they both are, but gold's chart is, and it has been for a while, much stronger than silver. We have this ascending. You can see we retested here perfectly, by the way, 2015. That was nice to see. Next day, sideways, not the best. We closed much lower than the high of day. So far today, pretty good, but all in all, a bit irrelevant because Thursday and Friday will completely decide it. So you could almost switch off your computer, go play in the park, and then come back Thursday night and definitely Friday night. One thing I've added though, if I just go to the 15-minute chart, is this descending, because I think that will come into play. This is pretty good. So I think a move up here, just imagine if it happened today, for example, is 2050. So close above 2050 and you should go test the highs. A close below 2015, but especially this ascending here, and you should go test basically 2000, which means you're probably going to visit below 2000. So back to the daily, sorry for moving. I think these lines do it. There's nothing else to consider. I don't think 2000 is support, by the way. I really don't. I mean, it can obviously do anything. It can bounce off 2000, but I think if we're trading below, if we're closing below 2015, I think we're going to go flush 2000. We may, hit 1980, bounce, and hopefully close above 2000. I think 2000 will be a level of importance if we flush below it, but I don't think if we were to visit it that it would hold, put it that way. But yeah, those are the levels on the downside. On the upside, we really just have one, and that's this descending. Once you close above it, we go and test the highs of 2000, let's say 75. I think it's 2080 really, but it's kind of a general a $10 range, which is not much given the numbers we're dealing with. And after that, you go visit the absolute high of 2150. And to be honest, if it's going up there, it's probably gonna stay, and then you can consider 2000 as real support. Silver, not as impressive, but that's the way it is. The ascending's lost, but I almost feel like deleting the ascending because it's I will actually, because gold ascending counts, but silver's it's just it's already trading below it, let's say, but it's holding. You can see these shadows here, they're holding very well. So it's all about not closing below, let's say, the lowest shadow for me, but especially this one here. I think if you're closing below 2250, then you're looking at a big move. I don't know, it depends what gold looks like, but I would say move down to 22 or even just below, which wouldn't be ideal. And to be honest, below that should be very strong support. Look at this ascending. This area here should be very strong support if we do it. But I don't think Thursday or Friday's numbers can make that kind of a move, but maybe 22 or lower. What we need is a move up. And for a move up, I think a close above I don't know, 2350. That would be really good. A close above 2350, then you can start testing 24. And to be honest, if you're at 24, it's just one more move up before the big moves is possible. Because once you're at 26, now you're looking at 30. 26 is obviously the big one. So, and by then, gold will probably be 2100. So, all eyes on Thursday and Friday. The miners, by the way, not as bad as silver. Look at yesterday's move was not great. Another sort of 1.5% move drop. You add these up and they accumulate. We're just holding the ascending, and they all kind of do it. GDXJ just holding. So we don't need any more bad drops today. So far, so good. But you got to pay attention to that. Again, it's a bit like silver, a little bit of a move lower, a little bit of a close below 35 on GDXJ, and that's not looking good. We're gonna start going down here and start gap filling maybe. A move up, above here, 37, and now we can start testing the 40. SILJ, that one, look at that. I mean, close at low of day, pretty much there, lost the ascending, but because of gold, because of the chart of gold, because of the chart of GDXJ and GDX, it's kind of, I'm not gonna say that it's done too much to the downside and now it's gonna flush down here. Definitely looks like it wants to, but I'm just gonna give the benefit of the doubt due to gold, even silver, and the GDX charts. Let's check GDX, by the way, last one. You see, that's what I mean. Also, that one hasn't closed below the ascending, so you can't really say SILJ is doomed. So the ascending, it's really tight. It's really, centimeters away here, maybe millimeters, but still hanging, by its teeth, you can say. So there you go. Let's see what happens Thursday and Friday. But just to summarize, copper, nothing crazy, just sideways, but to the downside. Natural gas, very impressive on the upside move. Oil holding, getting in a very tight wedge. Uranium, nice move up. And then obviously platinum and palladium, just sort of, sideways actions. I could say palladium, though, really big drop. So I expect to bounce today. And then gold and silver just holding. So let's see what happens. Good luck out there.